urge caution and to humbly submit to the government of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to hasten slowly in the implementation of the new curriculum for senior high schools. The implementation of similar and equally good curriculum like what we are envisaging to implement now failed in South Africa because of the implementation challenges. Mr. Chairman, it would interest you to know that the students' manual, that's the textbooks and other learning materials for the effective implementation of this new curriculum are just not physically printed out for use by students. The hard copies does not exist. The other logistics like the computer tablets needed by students to access the microsites of the soft copies of the student manual also does not exist. If a school like Oda Senior High School do not have access to these basic logistics, like the tablets, what will happen or what happens in other institutions? This and many more are the reasons why the implementation of the new curriculum must be hastened slowly. Mr. Chairman, as I speak now, parents of Form 1 students across the country cannot buy any textbook because they are at a fix. They don't know the books they should buy, whether to buy the old textbooks or to wait for the new one. And if they have to wait for the new one, when is that new one coming up? As a nation, why are we rushing to implement an educational policy that the foundation has not been laid properly? Let's take example from what happened in South Africa. Mr. Chairman, my next educational policy submission will be on financing our education in Ghana. Educational financing is a very difficult task for any nation. I am therefore proposing what I termed as education financing stratification. We stratify the payment in our schools. By this, I propose that the parents of students who chooses Category A institutions from next year must pay for everything. Those in Category B pay for some of the costs like accommodation or feeding, and those in Category C benefit totally from the free SHS. Mr. Chairman, this policy may not go down so well with people. But the point is this: some parents will do and work their way out in whatever way possible to get Category A schools. Why can't we harness and gather those resources from such schools and use it to develop Category B and C schools, so that every year we would have about 3 of the B schools promoting into Category A? By that, no school would be left behind. Mr. Chairman, when it comes to teaching in our schools, every teacher in senior high school has a first degree. So staffing is not a problem. If the right environment are created for teachers across the nation, they would be able to teach our students to obtain the best. Lastly, Mr. Chairman, as the National President of Agricultural Teachers Association of Ghana, I would like to appeal to the Minister of Food and Agriculture to collaborate with Ministry of Education and Ghana Education Service to support schools with vast arable lands like Oda Senior High School and other schools like that, with the right amount of input and labor to go into large-scale farming to support the school feeding program, and more importantly, to serve as a learning center to arouse the interest of our youth in agriculture. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank all and sundry for making time to come and support this program. God bless our school, Odasco, and our nation, and make her great and strong.
I, however, wish to caution that my oversight responsibilities over this school this time around will be more stern. It will be because there's a subtle attempt to make the free SHS program a sharing responsibility, with some monies being demanded from students here and there. I have not heard any of these complaints from this school, but from other schools it's happening. Those of us who have been followers of the free SHS program, and those of us who have often said that it is possible for this country to continue with the free SHS program, we will make sure we police the program and make sure that the government is responsible for the free SHS. After all, the president has promised free SHS will not be cancelled. And if it will be cancelled, we will make sure the way it was done, it is done better this time around. I heard the headmaster talking about his policies, preferring some solutions to it. Thankfully, we are not a grade A school yet. Because if we become a grade A school and we say people should pay, my constituents cannot pay. My constituents cannot pay. And as far as I remain their representative in parliament, we have to put in place a measure to ensure that they don't pay. Education must not be that expensive. Education, finances must not be a barrier to education. Even during our time, when there wasn't free SHS, we still had opportunity because we had uncles who had cocoa farms here and there. So some of us enjoyed the cocoa board scholarships. Who knows? If my uncle, who is a very, very renowned agri teacher, as a Brako, had not been a cocoa farmer to support me with his cocoa farm for me to enjoy cocoa scholarship, who knows that I would have been able to go through secondary education to become a member of parliament now. Finance, money must not be a barrier to education. No way. And so, Headmaster, we will sit with you as your representative to parliament to go through all the presentations you've made and all the suggestions you have made. But as for the one that you said grade A schools must be paid, that one we have to drop it in this room. Because we are projecting this school to become a grade A school. And I can tell you, a lot of my constituents are not in a position to pay. They are not. Yesterday, you were with me at the Independence Square, the march past. The children who did well in the BEC had the opportunity to go to the grade A schools. We're all coming from private schools, right? All of them came from the private schools. I did not see any that had come from the public schools that had access to a grade A school. How many of us have the money to pay schools fees in the private sector? And so yesterday, right after we had led the function, it set me out thinking that look, if people go through the public schools, does it mean they will not have access to a grade A school? And the bulk of the people, the majority of the people, are all in the public schools. So why should we make education that expensive? Why should we make finance a barrier to education, proper education that will let us grow our future? So Headmaster, as much as I'm ready to work with you in your vision to make this school a grade A school, I want to reiterate, when this school becomes a grade A school, we cannot afford to let our people pay, because the bulk of your students are my constituents, and I know the pockets of my constituents. They won't have money to pay. And if they have stood thick and thin with us when we are not a grade A school, and they have prayed with us, none of them will pour libation. The pastors here will pray with all of us. We will also play our role, and then we get to grade A, and then you say we should come and pay. That one we will say Lailai. It will not happen. So we will take on board all your suggestions, those that are good ones. At least somebody was telling me I have become too vocal since I got into opposition. I said, me, I am a talkative. But if your government is there, can you talk about your government? Can you talk much about your government? But if you say your government, all you have to do is to what? Talk. And so, Headmaster, I will sit